In this lesson, we're going to build a low poly trigger. All right, so let's go ahead and start off in our left view, and let's start building out our trigger. So to do this, let's go ahead and go to a box, and we're just going to create a really quick, actually, you know what, let's go ahead and do a box. I'll just build that out here, give it a little bit of thickness, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the pivot point of that object and let's center it to the box, and then we're going to align the box to the trigger object, and we'll just hit OK on that. And then let's go to our left view and let's start building this out. So I want to go ahead and scale it out a little bit, so we'll just scale that to the outside edges of our trigger, and then let's go ahead and convert it to editable poly. And go to vertex mode, and let's start building this out. So we're going to go ahead and pull this to right about here or so. And I'm just going to use Swift Loop to create a couple of really quick vertices. The trigger itself is probably not going to be seen hardly at all on a model, but we can go ahead and we can add a little bit of resolution to it just to kind of help out with its shape. So I'm going to create an edge right there, and then I'm just going to soften that by putting this here. And then we'll go to polygon mode, select that polygon, and then we'll just extrude that down. Okay, and then let's take that amount way down here. And we'll hit OK, and then we'll just move that up. And I'm going to go to vertex mode, and I'm just going to continue tracing around this edge, and then I'll just use extrude, and then vertex mode, switch this around, and just start tracing that out. And we'll continue on. Okay, and I'm not worried about the smooth edges or anything like that just yet. We'll get that in just a moment. And we'll just do this a couple more times. Okay. Switching back to polygon mode and extrude. And this should be the last one that we'll need, so we'll just put that into place there. And if we need to add any more segments, we can do that if it's absolutely necessary. But like I said, even in a first-person shooter game, the trigger probably isn't going to have all that much resolution. It just really doesn't need it. So let's go to our perspective view, and I'm going to go to edge mode, select this edge, and then hold shift and select the next one. That should select that entire ring, and we'll use connect. Let's add in 2 segments here, but let's go ahead and use our pinch, and let's draw that up to about 40. Hit OK, and then we're going to take these polygons on the outside edge, so select all of these, and then you can actually come in and go to modify, select similar, and that should select the other side. And then we're going to grab our scale tool, and we're going to scale that on the Y and the Z direction. Now you'll notice that whenever we scale that, some of these push up and they just push in different directions. So I'm going to show you a different tool to do this. Hit Control Z one time. Let's use outline instead. Watch what this does. So if I take this down, let's set it to 0 first off. And if I start to take this down, notice that it brings that in their own local normal direction, and it gives us a nice smooth edge there. And so we can just drop that down to however far we need it. It looks like 0.08 would be a good value for us. And then we can just come in, go to our left view, we can make some adjustments to this if we need to. So I'm going to take these points here, and I'm going to pull those down, something kind of like that, and just make some very, very quick adjustments to its shape. If you need to add some more, go ahead and go to Swift Loop, hold down Shift, cut across that, and notice that it creates that curvature. One thing to be careful though whenever you're using that shift is to watch how it flares out from the side. As you can see, it flared that out, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut in the middle of that without holding Shift, and then go to my left view and then manually grab those vertices, pull those out, try to match that shape a little bit better. Okay, and we'll get something that looks kind of like this. I'll pull these up. Just kind of distribute that. All right, very good. So now that we have that, I think we've got enough geometry. We could add a little bit more in there if we really wanted to. Let's cut here. And I'm actually going to take all those vertices and I'll pull those down just like that. And we'll add a cut right here. And then we'll move those over. And then I'm going to take this edge, double click on it, and I'm just going to kind of pull that out in between. And there we go. Let's take this edge and let's pull that up right about here. All right, so that gives us plenty of geometry. Then we can go ahead and rename it LP_trigger. Hit enter. There we go, matching pretty well. We've got enough segments there to capture all that detail. To give us a nice silhouette as well on that. So let's change its color and its material just to kind of keep consistent. So I'm just using this standard gray material for my game mesh. And there we go. And then in the next lesson, let's move on to the hammer. So I'll see you then.